All right. Hello, bar takers, future bar passers. I'm Jennifer McClure, the bar exam mentor, and I'm here with Joan Howell, recent bar passer. Woo!
Yeah.
Joan graduated from Hofstra Law School, also known as Maurice A. Dean School of Law. She's looking to get admitted into New York and New Jersey, eventually start her own firm, and also, move on with life, start that family, start stacking the bills, all of that, right? That comes when you finally get over this hurdle. Now, let's dive on into Joan's story. I would love to ask you a few questions to help everybody know how possible this really is for them too, no matter how stuck they are or they feel that they are right now on this side of the bar exam. So, what was happening in your life around the bar exam that made you go, you know what? It's time to do some mindset work for the bar.
A lot was happening. For starters, I had already failed the bar exam 3 times prior to finding you in the program. And I had tried a tutor. Obviously did bar prep. And I just felt like something wasn't clicking because I still wasn't passing, but I felt like I was investing so much money and time, but yet I still wasn't getting it. And then a friend of mine actually sent me a link of you. I think it was of your website or of like one of the boot camps, something that you were advertising. And she sent it to me and I checked it out and I, looked at the reviews on your page or other people's success stories essentially. And I was like, well, let me see about it. And then I booked a call with you and I think that we just clicked, then I learned you were a Virgo, so I felt this vibe. And I was just like, you know what, maybe this is what was missing, right? Like maybe I didn't realize before that my mental was a little negative.
Mhm,
Like I was my biggest critic. And to this day, I still am that.
mhm.
But I think I've gotten better in terms of like talking myself into positivity instead
Mhm.
of like talking myself down.
Right, right.
So yeah.
I remember we worked together on so many things like, boundaries and family and all that kind of stuff. And how did like the people around you play into you feeling stuck on that side of the bar exam?
I felt like my family, as supportive as they were, financially and emotionally, they didn't really understand the emotional stress I was under and the mental stress I was under and the professional stress I was under because I had landed my dream job prior to graduating law school.
Mm,
So when I started studying for the bar, I was already working at the job. So there was that pressure, like I need to pass in order to maintain my employment. And then I was living with both of my parents, and I'm also the youngest of 3 children. So I felt there was a lot of like I was always the person they came to for stuff, whether it was help me, draft this, or Joan, can you help me out with this online because my parents are not as technologically savvy, and like, or it's laundry day. Can we got to do laundry? We're gonna wash. Can you fold? Even though I'm like studying, so it were those little things that I think it was. I don't want to say it was lack of I think consideration,
mhm,
and I want to say knowledge maybe because I don't think they really knew what
mhm.
I needed, even though I was trying to communicate it to them. I don't think it was resonating with them. So yeah, I had to make some changes.
Yeah, you did actually, and impressive ones that really, really did the trick. So let's get into that. How did things change when you started doing your mindset work?
So for starters, I did our group sessions,
Mhm.
talking to other bar soon to be bar takers and like the stress that they were under and things they were experiencing. And a lot of it was very similar to what I was going through. So that was really like good to hear that I wasn't alone, and like, there was you and the other coach that we had in our sessions whose name
Coach
escapes me right now.
Caroline, yeah,
That's Caroline.
at the mentoring circle.
Yes, our mentoring circle. And I found that to be really helpful because not only did I hear other people going through what I was going through, but also there were like certain tips that were being given, like about study styles. Like I remember once you mentioned how we should use things that help with our learning styles in terms of like studying. So like if you're if you're more of an auditory learner, you should like record yourself reciting rules and things like that. So I did that. Had like a whole playlist that I would play while I was in the shower or when I was going to bed. And I found that to be really, really, really helpful. Um, and aside from that, it was me talking myself. Like I remember one time you said, you can't just say you want to be a lawyer. You got to talk like a lawyer. You got to email like a lawyer. You got to walk like a lawyer. And I'll never forget that because I feel like although I aspired to be it,
Mhm.
perhaps I wasn't carrying myself as such
Mhm.
because I was kind of, down on myself because I had failed so many times previously and worried about doing that again. So I think you help remind me, like, no, I am a lawyer. I failed the exam, but I'm
Mhm.
going to pass it. Like, you know what I mean? And like just saying, like, literally, Jennifer, I was saying to myself in the mirror, I am Joan Howell Esquire. I am Joan Howell Esquire. Like, every time I would get in the mirror, I was saying that because I felt like it was the way to boost myself, even though I didn't know what the hell was gonna happen. I was just like, believe it until you see it.
Yeah.
And that was like my whole thing up until I took the bar exam this last time. That and prayer, because God is good. Um, but yeah, talking myself into it. And a big thing that I did is I moved. I moved out of my parents' house literally a month before they, 2 months before they,
That
no,
was a leap
before
of
the exam.
faith. A leap of
Yeah,
faith, no?
it was a huge leap of faith. I was scared shitless,
Yeah.
but I felt that it was put in my spirit that I needed to get into my own space. There was a lot going on in my family. My grandfather was sickly and staying with us, and my dad was going through a lot with that because they're really close. And it was just a lot of pressure, on me to like be there for the family, but also focus on what I need to focus on. So I just
Yeah.
left. Yeah,
So if I could interject there, you see, for those of you watching, Joan is like many of the bar takers that come through our circle, very heart-centered, right? And very connected to their family and friends and just wanting to be there. And that's what makes them such forces to be reckoned with out in the legal world. These are more of the kinds of lawyers that we want to see. And one thing that the mentoring circle does that I suspect helped you too, Joan, was just the ability to kind of move a lot of the emotional dependence from the family for their support onto a group of people who understand and respect what you're going through. And with them supporting you, you're able to now do what you need to do with regards to boundaries and maybe making some, scary moves
yeah,
in order to pass the bar.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad that you got to enjoy that support, right? Because it ended up well for you. What were your bar results? Tell us.
Actually, I scored a 278.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. Okay. Like I was shocked, I guess, because in my mind, I was like, all I need is a 266. Okay. Give me a 266, 267. We're lit. I'm good with that. And I think that, God like showed out. I mean, obviously I did my part,
Mhm.
but even I didn't even get to finish an MPT. And this is me being completely like raw. Like I was nervous about that, right? Like I didn't finish an MPT. I'm talking myself. But even then, I'm like, you know what? If anybody can make the impossible possible, it will be God. I did my part.
Yeah.
I made the most out of that limited time that I had. I woke up and went to sleep with the bar books with me. You know what I mean? I took breaks when I needed to take breaks. And also, talking myself up when I needed to because there was a lot of tears still. But I
Yeah.
think that's just me being, an emotional person. And that's kind of how I
Sensitive.
feel.
That's okay. Yeah, that is so okay. You're heart centered. We don't have to change who we are. We gather the tools and
Yeah.
get to work. And that's what you did, right? You prayed and you moved your feet.
Yeah. Exactly. As scary as it was. Oh my goodness. But
Awesome.
now it all unfolded. Like as far as me realizing that all that stuff I did is was necessary for me to reach my success essentially.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, and I respect that, part one of the scary steps that a person needs to take is to make that decision to work on their mindset, even though it's more common to work on the academic stuff over and over again, et cetera. But you made that decision to join our mentoring circle. And I actually want to tap into that and ask you what, if anything, made it hard for you to join?
I think and it really wasn't hard. It was just more so my mental of like trying to like plan everything,
Mhm.
how it would fit into my life, like work, studying and then making time for the mentoring circle. I think I put too much pressure on it, like it really required so much out of me. Until I just did it. We spoke about it and I was just like, you know what, I'll give it a try. And there was no pressure. Like you told me that I didn't have to, show my face if I didn't want to. I didn't have to speak if I didn't want to. I could just be there and hear what, my fellow soon-to-be bar takers were saying. And I did that most of the time because most of the time I had my bonnet on. But I think that was so helpful. And a lot of times it also just gave me a break from studying and took my mind off of the stress and anxiety of this test is coming. My time is winding down. Like, do I know enough on all of that? And then I walked away with tips that I could like take into studying and also making me feel okay about certain things that I felt horrible about. Like, oh my God, I fell asleep while studying last night. I'm a horrible person. I'm going to fail. Like, those are the kind of feelings that you have or I had. And you guys helped me understand that it's not necessarily how many hours you study, but it's making the time that you do study effective.
Yeah, yeah. So something about having a group that you can bring your worst nightmares and your head noise to,
Yeah,
and being able to walk away feeling completely different about it.
absolutely.
So you were busy trying to plan and schedule and see how, you were going to make it. And how exactly did you overcome that whole scheduler? It's got to be perfect and I have to fit it all in part of you? How did you do that?
Just did it.
Yeah,
I literally just fit it in. I mean, I just knew I had it on my calendar.
yeah,
Like, this is the mindset coaching mentoring circle time. I had my alert go off like 15 to a half an hour beforehand. So if I was studying, I knew to take a break right before so that I can kind of just like, because to me, the mentoring circle was like a de stressing moment.
mm,
Studying was stressful. And it was a moment for me to just be like, okay, I don't have to look at this right now and just talk to people who understood, like, even the material itself. I mean, we didn't talk too much about the material, but sometimes, it may come up like, oh, I'm struggling with this subject. And we would just talk about ways to get around that. And that was helpful to me. So I really just did it, put it in my
awesome.
calendar and made it happen.
There you go. Because lawyers make it happen, right?
That's a fact.
So
Yes.
what was your favorite thing about the program?
You.
Oh,
No, really, no, because you're like so real, and I appreciate the genuineness, and also the people that I spoke to, Caroline included, and like the other bar takers. Like, it was so raw. Like, people literally cried in the mentoring circle. Being raw and real about what was going on in their lives outside of the bar exam and the effect that it had on them with regard to taking the bar exam or studying for it. And I appreciated that because I am a real person. We all are, but some people try to put on a facade, you know what I mean? And I think when you're really trying to get help, especially with your mindset, you got to be just real. You got to just kind of bear it all and not feel ashamed. And I appreciated that the circle, you didn't have to feel ashamed. Nobody cared how many times you had me have failed the exam. It was just like, that's that. We're here now. Like, let's focus on the now. So I appreciated that.
yeah, that safe space. Thank you so much, Joan, for sharing your story and your experience in the circle. Awesome.
Absolutely.
And good luck to you with all the steps ahead.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. You're awesome.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
And I hope you guys join because you should, because I said so.
Because you said so, right?
Period.
Reach out to you on social media or anywhere if they have questions about the program, maybe. Is there anything?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can reach out to me on Facebook, Joan Howell. You can find me that way. Or on Instagram, which is a little bit different, is Max Millie.
Well,
Maxmillie. Not that hard. I'll change it eventually.
it's good. It's good. Thank you for allowing people who might be interested but just have questions and be on the fence be able to reach out to you. Awesome. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Dawn.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.